So we have some pointers here on what you do for a big race to make sure that you finish at the end. 'Cause you can have the best car in the world, but if you don't finish, it ain't going to pay the bills or ain't going to make you come back. So hopefully today you learn a few things that we try to do before the big races to minimize our issues and make sure we maximize our finishes. All right, so you want to know what you really do before a big race? You try to rebuild your shocks, right? Like, so Bilstein right now, these are Bilsteins, they're in metric, so millimeters, you got to go off of that. Usually it's good sometimes to put new fresh shims in if you have time, but let's see. 24 by 30.
Yeah,
right on the money. I'll tell you the next one in 2 seconds. Let's see. 20 by 30.
Is that it? Oh wait, is that what? Oh
Yeah,
no,
give
never
me
mind.
two of 'em.
Oh.
And they're too small. Make sure they go in the back right spot.
Yeah.
You mix shims up, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And then there are washers and that. We'll put it together. And then you want to make sure, right? So you got, there's different piston, different style pistons. So we're just rebuilding our shocks before the big money races. Well, you do this a lot of weeks, right? But on your big races, what we do is we always put crosses in, right? Your drive shaft crosses. So we pop them out, right? And you can kind of see, right? See, like there's I don't know how good a video there is. There's like a little, like a wear spot, right? Usually when they start to pit or whatnot, well, then you're too far. We usually go about, I don't know, 120, 150 laps on them and go through. I've kind of cut down. See, like there's a shiny and then a not shiny. You can see the wear in it. I run greasable ones, right or wrong, kind of what we always did. But what we do is we'll pop this out, and then everything's dated, right? So this drive shaft's 922. Looks rusty, but it's not. Shouldn't be. It's not that many races on it. So we'll pull that out. We'll put some universal joints in out of here, which is my box full of tricks over here, and we go through that, right? So everything. One nice thing is, right, we always used to time them. So there's a line on a strange, right? So what happens is if you have a drive shaft that's twisted, where this is over here and this is here, you're out of whack, right? Your drive shaft will vibrate like a son of a gun because you have a twist in it. Usually you don't see that as much anymore. Well, I used to see it years ago, but once we kind of changed a little bit, it's been a little bit better from that process. So the big thing here is I don't have it open, but you also want to pull out your axles. So you pull your 3 things out here. And as I was telling you with the drive shaft, you want to pull, if your axle pulls straight in and out of your rear, then you usually have no issues, right? So I always put a line down my axle too to make sure it doesn't spin. If it spins, then you obviously twisted an axle. But if the axle pulls in and out straight, then your tubes are straight. So you want to pull your axle out usually before a big race, right? So like I pulled the axles out. And number 2, usually once I do that, I'll pull the hubs off or repack them, right? I'm 4 races. When I change the oil, I do the hubs, right? Everything kind of goes together. 3 to 4 races. So you try to do it in things. So that's one of the big things you want to do is make sure your hubs are packed and your axles are straight. Pull it all out. Make sure you're good. You want to keep an eye on your gear set. So like this is perfections from where it was cut, but you want to make sure it doesn't pit. So these shouldn't have a pit, but if they're starting to pit your gears, then you want to replace them. So you'll see like a little divot in there in the metal from wear and tear and not enough oil. They kind of pit, they'll start to pit, right? So you see that in the ring and pinion too. So what we'll do is we'll pull the sight plug off the rear and we'll check the right. We have like a camera scope to go into the side bell to check the rear and make sure that there's nothing pitted. So you'll see that a lot. Not as much anymore. Like really, like our rears are pretty well. I don't want to say bulletproof, but they've been solid, right? And we don't break as much. But you used to see these pit a lot. They niche out, and then you're in trouble when you get to that point, and that's when you gotta take a look at what you gotta do. Okay, so we run it every week. So usually what we'll do is, before our big races, what I'll do is we obviously run the valves every week, change the oil. I sometimes will put power valves in the carburetor, right? So power valves are one of the most uncommon things you forget. They'll blow after 4 or 5 races. So if you put power valves in, you got something, you might have it fresh, right? So something happens. Or we'll pull the distributor cap here. We'll take a look in and make sure everything looks good in there. Make sure there's no contacts and no problems with MSD. MSD's been great. We really, knock on wood, haven't had any issues, but I still like to take a look and see what's going on, right? It doesn't hurt. Pop your cap off, make sure everything's good, put it back together, and you're golden. Just double checking, right? And then you get your fuel filter right here. Like I run my fuel filter here. I know Mike runs in a different spot, but I usually clean that before a big race, make sure If you got really good fuel guys, you normally don't have an issue, but it's tough to say. Thanks for watching. They let me on here once in a while.